Saturday, July 20th, 2019. This is me, waking up on the famed Frers 50 Margaret Rintoul IV. Around me to the sides are suspended cots from a pulley system, and above me, the gearbox and drive shafts from the grind station for the winches. Aft is the nav table, and in the center where the bags are stacked is the engine cover. On the starboard side of the hull is the refrigerator, port side stove and oven, and behind the curtain, you guessed it, the toilet, or head. Above deck, as we prepare to set sail, remember that grind station I was telling you about? Here you can see it has two handles so that two people can crank the winch at the same time. This station controls two custom-built winches that can be controlled independently or simultaneously. As we motor out of the Black River, headed for Lake Huron, we were met with some bagpipers entertaining local spectators watching the parade of boats. As we exited the Black River, we saw quite an amazing sight where the muck water of the river met the beautiful blue water of Lake Huron. And in between the muck and the Huron water was this really deep blue-green color. Saturday started off with beautiful weather, but as the day went on, the weather conditions deteriorated. As we switched on the VHF radio, we heard reports of an incoming storm with potential for hail. RJ goes below deck to get his life jacket and harness. I'm below deck getting suited up and doing the same thing. Nick's below as our cook, and Amien getting some rest. With RJ back on deck, I'm next. I get on deck and get clipped into the jack line, a line of nylon webbing that runs from the back of the boat all the way forward. As the storm starts to roll in and visibility decreases, the crew prepares by getting their hoods on and getting secured to the boat. In 5 minutes, visibility goes to Eddie eases out the mainsail, but by the looks of it flogging, we're way overpowered and really ought to be reefed. Eddie eases the sail out yet more while Grant goes to the low side to ease the jib. With the wind exceeding 40 knots, we are dramatically overpowered at full mast on the mainsail and hard in on the jib. Five minutes later, however, the storm eased up. Still with poor visibility, we know we need to catch the competition. The winds have gone light, and we know what we need to do. Ed hardens in the mainsail, while Grant and his father Don run forward and prepare the 155 Genoa to be hoisted. Our forestay has two tracks, so two sails may be hoisted simultaneously. In some scenarios on a boat, it's best to stay out of the way. Too many hands can make a very difficult situation. As you can see, RJ and I stay on the rail till we're needed. We go up with the 155 and get ready to trim. As we start closing the gap on our competition to the left and to the right. With the 155 up, I unclip from the jack line and go down to the low side to help drop the 110. With the race jib on deck and the 155 Genoa hardened up, we go fast. Conditions maintained stable until later Saturday evening, when another storm rolled in that we were unprepared for. As the evening came on, wind shifted behind us, so we went up with the spinnaker, but instead of flying our 2.2 ounce kite, we went up with a half ounce kite, which destined us for catastrophe. The winds blowing in excess of 35 knots, our half ounce kite blew out in a near knockdown where the mast became nearly horizontal. I was below deck asleep when this whole thing unfolded. I recall being rolled out of my bunk, hearing shouting from above, and then the forward hatch flying open. So I got up, I went forward and helped pull the spinnaker down into the boat, and when the whole situation was over, I went back to bed. But I was told the next day, in the moment the spinnaker blew out, the boat reared up in a 360 and we lost our two top battens from the mainsail. As you'll see in the next video, bubbling in the top of the main is indicative of not having our top battens. Sunday evening, we had clear skies. It was cold, wet, and windy, which was the perfect recipe for getting us to the finish line even faster. The winds held consistently on Sunday from 25 to 35 knots. With a beautiful sunset and reasonably small waves, at max 4 feet, we sailed pretty comfortably into the evening. The top of the mainsail was backwinding, indicating to me that we were clearly missing our top two battens. When night fell, halfway through our shift on Sunday night, Ken went to the low side to start the engine to charge the batteries. The second instrument from the top shows the wind speed, and if you look closely, you can see it dancing from 28 to 38 knots. We were honking, seeing on average 8 knots of boat speed through the evening. Having sailed through 2 storms and consistent 35-knot winds for over 24 hours, we were delighted to be greeted by this beautiful sunrise on Monday morning. The white and red Round Island Lighthouse on the left and Mackinac Island on the right. Our finish line was dead center. And of course, as we were on final for the finish, winds got light yet again, as wind was being blocked by the land surrounding the area. With a morning this beautiful, how could I not get footage? Well, maybe I should not have been on the bow. We arrived on the island, put our boat in a slip, and were already met by people lined up and airing out their gear. Everything from cushions to foul weather gear to gloves, life jackets, ropes, and sails. There was even one kiddo who stopped to play with the grind station with his dad, who had just arrived on a Santa Cruz 70. As I walked the docks, one of the funniest things I saw was this jib hanging upside down. That's one way to dry out a sail. Walking the streets of Mackinac Island is always a treat. There are no vehicles allowed on the island, so people walk, take bikes, or take a horse and carriage taxi. Having finished the race, we were pretty excited as the yellow brick tracker indicated we finished in second place. In corrected time, however, we ended up finishing in 5th out of 9 and 61 out of 108. It was a true honor to sail with these boys on the famous Margaret Rintoul IV 50 yacht. Have you ever seen such a good-looking crew?